Hey Oak Blood Forest actors, right now we're in the beginning of the Oak Blood Forest. Now this attraction gives you a little bit more of a problem than we have in things like crop spawn, in that you have to really be creative as to how you scare people and how you scare them multiple times. You also want to think about anticipation. You want them to feel like, oh my God, I bet there's something somewhere. So this is the first scene, and there is a lot of anticipation coming in here. And you want to make sure, for example, that something does eventually happen and they don't have to wait too long. So as they walk through here, again, you have to kind of get familiar with each scene and know what's happening and put some thought into how you should scare that night. And that's what's fun about this job, is you get to kind of put your own interpretation on how you scare and what you do, but you also want to try to use what's around you as much as possible. So the first thing I can think of in here is there is typically an animation that is hanging from the ceiling here. It's a bride. So she would be here and she would be the distraction, okay? Let me show you what else is in here. I'm not exactly sure how this particular routine would go, but I guess something we've got over here, this is probably a better example. That animation would frighten them. And then we have a puppet that's here, okay? And if you look from behind, the puppet's not in here at the moment, but an actor would be here, okay? And they can hear the guests coming because they triggered that animation over there. Now as the guests are walking by, there's a big rat puppet that you can stick through the fabric to come out and terrify these guests. By the way, here's another orange block. You can see one that hasn't faded. This is where you would put your reflector, okay? That would go right in here so that we know exactly where you're working, okay? And if it doesn't fit perfectly, as long as it gets pretty close, we're satisfied. We just want to know where each actor is every night, and this helps us identify that. So anyway, after you've scared with the puppet, now we've left this spot open here where you could then come out and follow the guests. So let's go take a look at this way and see how this would work. You would follow them, follow them, follow them, follow, follow, follow. Again, making a scary noise, saying a scary phrase, and then I believe once you get over to approximately, let's see here, let's take a look this way. When you get here, you're behind them, you could continue to scare them, and then look at this. Right up there is where we started a minute ago. So you actually have a way to get back to where you originally started. We typically send groups through about every 15 to 20 seconds. Now this is a good example of something that you want to make sure that you are familiar with the scenes and where you're walking, because you don't want to trip on something like this at night. In addition, there could be a windstorm that comes through over the evening and a big branch could fall. You want to make sure you clear out your path every night and you have a very specific routine. You don't want to deviate from your routine. Once you have something that works, stick with it over and over and over again. Otherwise, you will get an injury. And that's just simple math. That's how it works. If you're running all over the place, in particular in the woods, you really could get injured by tripping on something, okay? So there's a nice little loop and an example of a way you could work in the Oak Blood Forest.